and Bridge. And from the south of France, latest news: Catalan Dragons 28, St Helens 26. That sounds like a belter. And don't forget, you will be able to see highlights of that match, along with highlights of this one in the morning on Sky Sports. And of course, if it stays like that, it won't really please the black and white half of the city of Kingston upon Hull, because the red and white half will still be top of the Super League table. I wonder if the news has filtered down to the terraces, or they just got a view of themselves on the big screen here. But anyway, there's still plenty to play for here, and I actually thought in that first half perhaps we need a bit of a downpour to get this game going, just like we had last night at the Jungle. Well, right on cue, the rain is falling at the KC Stadium. Not exactly coming down in stair rods, but as it did last night, but maybe it will just liven things up a bit.
Well, let's hope so if you're a Warrington fan. No, I must say I was impressed with the way that Hull played that first 40 minutes. Richard Agar realising a lot of his stars not out on that paddock, but the way that they had a solid defence and the wonderful ability to be able to keep kicking into the corner, just turning Warrington around, certainly paid dividends.
Warrington in possession here at the start of this second half. And it's Mickey Hyam who was the dummy half, and the kick down the line is from Lee Breers. And it was
near
measured.
to a 40-20.
He went for a 40-20. He's asking the referee. He's asking Steve Ganson. And he will have none of it.
Well, Mr. Breers is having a little bit of a chat. He's certainly inside the line, so that's okay.
No, it's well inside this side. You were right where you kicked it from.
It's very difficult.
But it went well in here.
From that angle, either way, it's a good position. Now, you can see that the rain is teeming down, and a little bit of a stronger wind has come up, which will be to the advantage of the visitors, Warrington. Whether they utilise it, you can see they tried it with Lee Breers for the 40-20.
All right. Well. Third. Move. Hold.
It's Hull in possession with Cusack, who plays the ball there, and this now is Paul King.
I must say, watching the dressing room camera, Eddie, it wasn't all that animated, Tony Smith.
Oh, he was prowling, I thought, Steve. Oh, he was up and down. Well, that's a push. Can you do that?
Yeah, of course you can.
And push people in the back?
When he's got the ball, yeah. I think he had the balls.
Well, he had the ball, yeah, but can you really just go along and push someone in the back?
Of course you can. Part of a tackle, do whatever you want.
It's the worst tackling technique in the world, but you can do it.
Go.
We saw last night, of course, that, or rather on Thursday night in the Championship, that I think it was Lee Doran of Witness pushed someone in the back, and a try was disallowed because of it.
Mark Smith and Ian Watson it was.
Oh, you were there, were you?
Yes.
Good lad.
Clear.
Apologies to Lee Doran then, before we go any further.
He'd be devastated, Tuner, to be have that blamed on him.
Oh, St Helens have got the lead back against the Catalan Dragons with 2 minutes to go. A la the Saints say, they're never beaten, are they? They never know when to give up. They're a pest.
Well, I think they did the same thing a couple of years ago, when a lot of people were complaining that they sent down a lot of youngsters down to the south of France and came up, I think, with the win just in the final seconds.
Just about, they did. They did, and it was Daniel Anderson who did send the team down there with a lot of unfamiliar faces in. I think it was it a week or two before Wembley, or wherever they were playing the Challenge Cup that year. This is Ewan Dowes on the last tackle for the Black and Whites, and Thorman will hoist the kick, and it's not a bad kick either, and that's going to bounce, and Bridge had all the time in the world and will take the first tackle this set of 6. Down to Bill, he's got the whole injured skipper Lee Radford with him.
Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, Lee, the heavens have just opened. It's been a pretty cagey game so far. This is going to make it even more so, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot's going to rely on the kicking now. Obviously, they need a decent kick chase and get down there, get as much field position as possible.
From the Hull FC point of view, been a good defensive performance as well, hasn't it, so far?
Yeah, really good first 4-2. Just the one blip where obviously Grix went in for his try, but apart from that, it's been fantastic.
The thing about this Warrington, I mean, you look at that Warrington side and you get the feeling that they might click yet in this game.
So, Mike, yeah, I think everyone's been asking that all season, to be honest. So they're a great side on paper, and they can score tries from anywhere, which we've got to be aware of, and obviously combat that with some good defence.
I'm not going to do it like that. Back to you, Eddie.
Not, it was another offload from Monaghan that went awry.
But what about the anticipation from Mark Calder with the right winger to be in there, taking that offload? Brilliant play from him.
And here's a penalty for the Black and Whites, because Cusack was being held down.
Well, I can't really understand why he tried to offload there.
Maybe he didn't. It looked as though there might have been
Was it a finger?
couple of Hull hands in there.
And not surprisingly, the safety-first approach from Richard Agar's side certainly served them well in the first 40, and this fella, Danny Tickle, will be... It's within his range quite easily.
Eddie, this is the 8th game, already this year. Hull have played in 8 games, which have been won or lost by 8 points. I've made reference to it before. They play a lot of cliffhanging matches, and I guess they're just trying to extend this lead here now. They're not a high try-scoring side. When they have the chance, they'll put 2 more points over. But Richard Agar's an excellent coach, able to maximise the potential of the team available to him, which he's doing tonight.
27th of February was the last time that Hull won on this ground.
Time off.
It was against the Catalan Dragons. They've lost 4 in a row since, in both the Super League and the Cup. A little bit of a home slump, and they want to arrest that as soon as possible. Danny Tickle.
Time back on.
He's nearly 40 metres away, but as you see, bang in front. He's a great kicker, isn't he? Really is.
Yeah, very laconic style, but effective nonetheless.
If Fitzgibbon does come to Hull, will he get the kicking duties? Because Danny Tickle is an excellent kicker, lovely style, very confident, pops it and runs away. Every confidence in the world, and Hull are not afraid to slow this game down to their pace.
No, they're not. If you're just tuning in and you're wondering what Barry's talking about there, the news is that Craig Fitzgibbon is probably on his way to Hull for 2010, the Australian Test star. A lot of big names coming from down under, and I know that, well, I suspect, I can't say that I know, but I suspect that that wouldn't necessarily please the England coach, because we really need to see, which is why the licenses were brought in, we really need to see some English talent being brought to the fore.
Well, it's difficult because a lot of the chairmen and the boards of directors, all they look towards is win-win-win.
And to be fair, the likes of Fitzgibbon and Soliola and Farlongo, who
Great players.
They are great players, and if they're of that quality, fine, I suppose. Harrison goes down, first tackle for Warrington. Westwood.
Not a spring chicken, though, is he, Fitzgibbon?
Here's Breers. This is Rauhihi. Talking of not a spring chicken, he's the second oldest man in Super League for Rauhihi. Now, Monaghan attacking that line, slipping under the challenge from Dowes, but he hangs on to the ball, plays up the options left and right. Oh, now then, that ball has bounced off Paul Wood. It will be a knock-on. It will be a tap on the 20-metre line, says the referee.
Chance gone begging. He would have got through there. It was just a touch high was the pass. And again, an error from the Wolves. It's becoming a nightmare for them. Don't expect anything fancy from Hull at the moment. They realise a 10-point lead is pretty effective.
This is Paul King for them. 8 minutes of the second half gone. Plays it there to Danny Houghton. Here goes Peter Cusack.
Move. Hold. Go.
Houghton again. And Richard Hall attacking that line. And this time Paul Wood snares him on the last. Houghton will give it to Thorman. Here's the kick. Little dink over the top this time. Hits the ground. It's slippy. But Bridge deals with the threat. Okay. Well followed up by Washbrook. Here goes Richard Mathers.
Well, we've yet to see the combination of Lee Breers and Michael Monaghan take control out there. And that's obviously one thing that the coach Tony Smith would have been discussing at half-time. when they are in top form, I must say, they create all sorts of problems, but you can see there that they just completely lost the plot. That's the second occasion that Monaghan has made a move. Nobody knows what he's going to do.
He's in the wrong part of the pitch, though, Steve-O. He's trying to make a play coming away from his own 35-40 metre line.
St Helens have won in France. Little dink over the top from Briers, bounces perfectly for Mathers, and he floats it with the boot out wide. Oh, there's some football skills going on out there, isn't there, down that right-hand side tonight? Now, Bridge flicked it forward. Did Jody Broughton play it? That he did.
Yes.
It's going to be a head and feed to Warrington.
Well, it was a wonderful build-up, wasn't it? Beautiful chip over the top. And Richard Mathers, skillful there, no doubt about it. Broughton came to the rescue.
So Warrington with the head and feed, and they are 10 metres away from the Hull line. Harrison from the base of the scrum.
Good effort as well. Now will a switch on that short blind side.
It's a penalty, hands in at the ruck, says the referee.
Well, I don't think the 2 points are going to any good. They've got it for the tap, and that's what they've done.
Well, he trying to use a bit of weight. Referee shouts held. Hyam looks behind him, sees Monaghan, who in turn gives it to Mathers, who gives it to Griggs, who slipped.
Hold. Go.
Mathers, Paul Wood, he chances his arm going, or trying to go through two. Hyam, Monaghan and Briers. Briers floats it wide. Vinnie Anderson, and the pass again to the touch judge.
Lack of coordination, not much talk out there. He was already coming back on the inside when the ball just disappeared in front of his eyes.
10 metres, mate. It's calling.
Well, the black and white supporters happy about that result from Perpignan. They know that St Helens therefore do not Hull KR off the top of the table tonight.
Must have been one heck of a game.
Don't forget the highlights you'll be able to see in the morning on Sky Sports Extra, 7 a.m. Highlights of this and extended highlights of Catalan Dragons and St Helens. And don't forget also that you'll be able to see the pick of the action from the weekend with Martin Afire on Sky Sports News tomorrow night. Here goes Danny Houghton again. As the strains of Old Faithful begin to be sung around here. The news from Perpignan and this scoreline here is encouraging for the black and white half of this city. Here comes Mathers. Can't get away from the first challenge from Tickle. Chris Bridge.
A bit high from Tickle and just fell away at the right moment.
Coleman penalised. He just knelt all over Chris Bridge then.
Why do players, instead of getting out of the way, they just raise their arms and say, oh, well, I couldn't move? There is no way in the world that the official can do nothing other than penalise him.
Hold. Go.
Here comes Hyam, and now it's Paul Wood again.
First.
It's going to take something special, though, because this whole defence throughout has been extremely solid.
Hyam to Briers. Briers then gets the pass away to Vinnie Anderson. Morley returns. I wonder when Tony Smith will get John Clark back into the action. Meanwhile, it's Hyam.
They need a dummy runner. They haven't not utilised that throughout this game.
Briers to Monaghan. Monaghan held on and took it himself, and then releases the pass again.
That was a shame. Ben Westwood actually turned away from the ball. Monaghan gets it free and it goes to the floor. Because Ben Westwood's not looking, the ball is in the floor. Look at him with his back to the play. That's unfortunate. You feel that if Warrington can get some sustained field position, then they can really threaten the whole line. You just felt that they were getting a little bit of momentum. There's good line speed here from Warrington. Could this be the start of a mini comeback?
Well, the big problem that they have is that they get in a good position and try to offload silly, rather than utilising the kick.
Composure is a key word.
It is, Barry, and if you utilise a kick into the in-goal area, remember, you're going to get a second set of 6, and that pressure, surely the wall will go.
That's a good ball from Mathers. Bridge has hit that at pace. It's Bridge against the rest, though, here. Good covering back by Jody Broughton and Richard Hall.
Perfect timing by both of them.
Warrington want to quick play the ball. Here is Mathers. Mathers who set this movement going.
Move!
Monaghan directing operations at dummy half. Finds Paul Wood. Wood backs himself all the time up the middle.
Will there be a second phase in attack from Warrington?
Hyam to Breers. Breers so brilliantly held on to by Riley, and a great clatter by Yeeman.
Is that a big game as the centre?
And he's hurt Riley.
Not surprised. That was a come to me daddy, won that.
Breers showed it to Morley, took it on himself. Last tackle here for Warrington. Can they get the repeat set of 6? Will they get a try? Monaghan. Mathers dabs it to the in-goaler. No, he doesn't. He dabs it on the wing, and Grix could not grow big enough again. That's been the trouble with Warrington tonight. They've just had their sights not set properly for these kicks out wide.
Absolutely spot on, and the same with the passing as well, either too low or too high. And again, you mentioned the fact, okay, it stopped raining now, but it was raining for around about 15 minutes. The grass will be very, very slippy. Why on earth don't you just put the little grubber into the in-goal area? It can go anywhere.
Here's Tickle.
Good run.
The first tackle. Can't beat the second one. Came in from Lee Breers.
Well, you've got your wish. John Clark's entered the fray.
It wasn't a wish, Steve-O, it was a question.
Well, you've got both then. Answer and a wish.
Can I have a wish?
By all means.
I've already had mine.
Clark and Mickey Hyam both on the field. So you've got your wish. 2 hookers are out there. Here is Richard Mathers again. Don't go around Richard Whiting, though.
Hold, go.
Riley, infield it comes.
It's just been a swarm of black and white, hasn't it, throughout this entire game.
Go.
Richard Agar must be extremely proud of the way that they've done it. They've not been over elaborate, shall I say.
Maybe the wish should be for a new set of teeth. This is Harrison.
Been a long time coming.
Monaghan, the dummy half. Clark, short ball to Carvel. Last one for Warrington. Breers drills the kick behind the defence. Broughton here, oh, nearly lost it. They're going to get an extra set of 6, Warrington.
And you've got it, Steve-O, perfect. You've been asking for it all night. Play the percentages, put the ball behind the Hull FC players, and be patient.
You don't have to be too brainy.
In position.
Just utilise the skills you have, and this guy has got plenty. But good position, my Jody Broughton.
He's just put his hand up, Lee Breers, to signify 5 or 50. So he wants the ball in the middle of the pitch so he can play to one of the sides.
Time on.
Maybe he just wanted the ball, Barry.
He just got it. He gave it to Morley.
The next one will be to the middle of the pitch.
You're right, it is. It's Carvel.
I'm nearly always right at it. Apart from when I'm at our house.
There's more enthusiasm showed on this attack. Morley in there again, and he's lost it. It's not being seen. He's seen it now. Got a little bit of a nod from the touch judge on that near side. Oh, there was a hand there. There was a hand.
Cusack.
And Cusack has got him, yeah.
Okay, formal.
Cute from Cusack.
They both played together at Sydney City or Sydney Roosters. 2 old teammates there.
So now Warrington will have to hunt the mistake, but they've got some injury problems apparently, Bill.
Well, no, the problem seems to have eased for Chris Riley. There was concern after he went down in that big tackle, got a bang on the thigh, but he's had treatment and he's back in action. And so too shortly for Hull FC should be Thomas Lee, because he's been out of action for a while, having a nasty gash on his thumb treated. He's got heavy strapping on it. I can see there's still blood oozing through that, but he's coming back on shortly.
Thackeray was important to Hull in the early stages of this match. Can it be important to them now in the last 20 minutes that they are approaching?
In about the last 8 minutes, this is the farthest downfield that Hull have been to kick the ball. They've been under pressure. Warrington's defence has been very strong, but here now, maybe for a first time in probably 10 minutes, we're going to spend some minutes, or some players anyway, inside the opponent's half.
Riley plays the ball to Monaghan. Here goes Vinnie Anderson.
And it's a good throw of the dice by the coach Richard Agar to throw back onto the field Jamie Thackeray, because as Eddie mentioned, the first 20 minutes of this game he was outstanding.
And a big part of that might be Tony Smith, when he was at Leeds, left Jamie Thackeray out of a grand final. He might be using that as motivation for tonight.
Hyam, short ball, Morley gets the ball away back to Hyam, but the ball did not stick for Mickey Hyam. Nothing wrong with the offload.
No, should have taken it. And it's those errors early in the tackle count that psychologically just keep banging away.
Come on, Danny. In the scrum.
Approaching the last 20 minutes of this match, Warrington scored a Super League double over Hull last year. 32-20 at home, 24-22 here last June. So there's never been too much between the teams on this ground.
Well, they're in a good position now to build and go forward and get that kicking game, which we saw in the first 40 minutes.
In fact, of 26 Super League meetings, Steve-O, it's 13 wins apiece. 7 of Hull's 13 wins, though, have come here at home. They've lost the ball here, though, and Griggs has it back for Warrington.
Zero. Move. Go.
Just the impact onto the ball carrying arm. As I say, it's pretty slippy out there.
I think you might see a bit more of that as the players get a little bit more tired towards the back end of the game. The ball's greasy. Players making the impact on that ball, trying to dislodge it.
Go.
Hyam comes infield to Breers. Short ball from him to Westwood. That was a good hit by Tickle. Grabbed the arm. And Westwood did well, actually, to keep hold of the ball. Morley on the charge.
Fall. Move.
Hyam will have a scamper from dummy half. Mickey Hyam. Mickey Hyam. But good defence from Richard Horn.
Good run, quick. Play the ball. Picked it up so smartly.
This is the last one. Breers helps it on quickly. They've got men on the overlap wide. They must be in. They are in with Bridge. The whole defence just disappeared on that left-hand side. And Chris Bridge comes up with a try in this second half. The first 4-pointer we've had. They had loaded that right-hand side, had Warrington, and they had a 2-on-1 overlap in the end.
It all came about by the wonderful thinking from Mickey Hyam. He could see that the whole defence for one and only in the second half that they just were a little bit slow. And Bridge knew he had it.
Okay,
Quick hands from Monaghan, whipped it away. Breers, beautiful stuff. Okay, it hit the deck. He got the lucky bounce, but Bridge knew he was over.
Chris Bridge, he got a try at Featherstone last week, a try against Hull at home last year, and a try in both home meetings against Hull in 2006, the former Bradford man. He's trying to improve his own 4-pointer here with the kick. He's missed it. 16-10 though. Warrington back to within one converted try.
They just got caught out. You can see the defence didn't slide quickly enough. Always a problem, and he knew he'd slide over. Nice finish. It's game on. A chance for the coach, Tony Smith.
Just a little thing, Richie Mathers, particularly the second half, every time you see him in the screen, his arms are waving up, he's trying to enthuse his players. That was a big part of his makeup while he was at the Rhinos. He's had a difficult couple of years, struggled with injury. While he's at Warrington, he's under the coach that looked after him at Leeds. He's going to become more and more of a player in this game.
And he's playing his first Super League match since February the 8th. He played for Wigan that day. He was sin-binned. But he played in the Cup last week. He got a couple of tries against Featherstone Rovers. And here he is now back in the Super League.
And to be fair, he was the most likely to do something to lift them. And let's face it, he had that 45-metre run down the middle.
Hold.
He never stops chattering all through the game. He's talking to his players, marshalling his big men. When they're coming back in that retreating defensive line, he's showing them where to go. It's a very important job.
Quick thinking there from Ben Harrison. He slipped in front of the Hull defender. The tackle wasn't affected, so he got up and played on. And there's a Hull man down in back play, by the way.
I think it's Danny Washbrook.
5. Move.
And he looks as though he's in a bit of trouble as well.
Breers with a kick to the in-goal area.
Great kick, great kick.
It's a beauty, and Horn just has to shuttle it dead.
Cohen in position, lads.
Rather than go and opt for the end-twos, nice little step as well. That's all they have to do, dinking in. It's been all Warrington in his second stanza. Safe pair of hands from Richard Horn. And this is where Washbrook caught it.
Well, I hope that's not another serious knee injury for Washbrook. As you can see, his right knee strapped there. He's just come back off a bad one.
Straight downstairs and into the dressing room for Danny Washbrook. Seems to be clutching his shin.
Yeah,
I don't know whether that means anything.
I think you might be right, Eddie. I think
Hold.
just a stray knee went right into the shin area.
Here's Carvel for Warrington, back
Move.
at the club where he
Hold.
used to belong, of course. Carvel already had 10 minutes in the sin bin. Monaghan, and Monaghan taking them on again.
Third. Move.
All down by Whiting and Thomas Lee. That was Hyam. This is Mathers. 4 tackles gone for Warrington. They're underneath the Hull sticks. With Mickey Hyam, who goes alone. He just couldn't get it down. That's great defence. Tremendous defence there from Danny Houghton and company.
Got to be the kick again, get another 6.
Breers wide. And a chance here for Grix. His second try for Grix. Referee will hand it upstairs to Ian Smith to adjudicate on. But Grix, as you can see from his body language, he believes he's scored here.
Well, I was calling for the kick, and Breers was setting him up into a very good position. It was quick thinking. Have they stopped him? You can see the wide ball, and ooh.
Yeah,
You've got to give it. Yeah, it's got away from the winger. It looked at one point that Calderwood's arm was got underneath it, but he has slid away from the attention of the winger. And Mr. Grix, I am sure, will be given his second try of the game, and it's a vital try as well.
Riley came in and added weight then. That isn't really allowed, but I think the ball was down anyway. Ian Smith says the try is given to Warrington. They are clawing their way back into a match that looked in danger of running away from them.
And again, it was another little scamper from Mickey Hyam. Okay, a lot closer on this occasion, but put them into position. They got caught out wide. Whiting had come in, and I'm afraid Calderwood had no chance. Pressure
Bridge
kick.
to try and add the extras, which would level the scores here. It's a very difficult kick, though, from the touchline, and Bridge has missed it. I think there must be a problem with Lee Breers. He's coming back into the match here tonight after a hamstring problem. And when Chris Hicks was out of the team, as Tony Smith announced it yesterday, I said, well, Tony, who's going to be kicking for you? And he said, well, that's up to the players. He said, it might be Lee Breers, depends how his hamstring is. Obviously, there might be just a little tweak on Breers' hamstring, and that may be why he's not kicking.
I think Chris Bridge is a better kicker, and I think Lee Breers thinks that Chris Bridge is a better kicker, and that would be my guess, Eddie. What's fascinating, though, without Lee Radford, the leader for Hull, who amongst the black and white jerseys when they were standing waiting for that decision could set the voice, set the tone here? They've been battered for the last 20 minutes. The territorial advantage for Warrington has been incredible in this second half, and yet Hull are still in front. Can they find a deeper strength here now to hang on? Eventually games turn around and possession will come their way, but they have to do that while still in the lead. If Warrington take the lead, it will be difficult for them to come back.
It's greater than 60-40 in Warrington's favour, as you've just seen.
They haven't had a smell out of the black and whites anywhere near the Warrington half for the last 15 minutes or so.
And Carvel and Morley are starting to get the wind at their backs.
Yeah, they're getting the momentum, getting over the advantage line, something they failed to do in that first half.
Crossfield kick from Lee Breers. What's the chase like? Doesn't matter, because that's going to run. Oh no, it is going to run dead.
Well, maybe he won't be too disappointed with that. They'll come back onto the 30-metre line.
Calderwood stutters as he goes towards the defenders. Clark was one, Harrison was the other. Here's Paul King, gobbled up by Morley.
The one thing that is for sure, both sides, especially the forwards, they've eaten up a lot of juice. Been tough down that middle.
12.5 minutes remaining. Who has the stamina to go on and win this match now? Here's Ewan Dowes, operating in the second row tonight. It's his 34th consecutive Hull appearance. All 13 this season so far at prop. Not a bad kick, this. Depends on the chase now. Riley will pick it up for Warrington. Good chase.
Very good indeed. That's what they need.
Led by Thackeray. Here's Harrison.
Got to make sure they don't give away a silly penalty. Concentration has to be at the top level.
Josh Hodgson has appeared in the black and white jersey for Hull. He's the son of a former Hull star, Dave Hodgson. Big night for that young man. Just saw him there in the tackle, number 26 on his back. And the kick downfield is going to have to be run back by Richard Horne.
There's plenty there. That is a wonderful chase.
And that's a good run from Richard Horne. Some news on Danny Washbrook, Bill.
Yeah, it's encouraging news for Hull FC. In fact, Danny Washbrook has just walked down below me here from the tunnel. His right knee is heavily strapped, and it is a knee problem that they're looking at. And the left knee, in fact, is the area that is concerned. But he walked out of the dressing room and was moving okay, and he might yet figure. I think it's unlikely, but certainly he looked a lot better when he came out just now than he did when he left the field just a few moments ago.
Well, there was an enormous egg, wasn't it? Right on the shin.
Huge balloon there, yeah.
What happens though when you get an injury to one side of your body, you overcompensate on the other, and you often see that you get injuries on that good side, if you like.
The kick's not a good one. Mathers can counter-attack here for Warrington. It was Whiting and Danny Houghton who got the tackle in. This is Vinnie Anderson again, and Vinnie Anderson tonight, by the way, the New Zealander, playing his 100th match in the British game. 49 for Saints. This is his 51st for Warrington. Morley drives it in again, the Warrington skipper. Coming up to 10 minutes to go. There he is, 100 up today for Vinnie. Here's brother Louis. Takes the fourth tackle. Hyam. Carvel. What would he give to score the winning try tonight?
But that's a good position as well. Now then, will they opt for the low kick into the in-goal area?
Well, it's with Breers, and yes, they do. And Horne flips it dead again. I think you've played this game before, haven't you, Steve-O?
Yeah, very alert. But that's all they have to do, and they know it. Because this black and white defence, they've worked overtime. It's always been a struggle to get through them. And eventually, they'll just fall apart. They have to. The law of average usually gives you, if you get 4 or 5 sets on the trot, you normally come up with trumps.
They just had to dismantle a stubborn Hull defence, and Warrington's philosophy in the first half was to pass the way out of trouble, and what they're doing now is pressurising the way out of trouble.
Well, they've just forced the third goal line dropout from Hull in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, and they've got a shotgun set, haven't they? They're just punching holes, trying to blow the hinges off this door in the middle. And look, charge after charge, in the middle of the field.
Here's Monaghan. It's Louis Anderson. But credit the Hull defence, they're standing firm so far. Can they hang on for 3 more tackles this set of 6? Breers fires the pass. Clark fires the pass. Try on that far side for Vinnie Anderson, who celebrates his 100th appearance in Great Britain with a try that turns the match in Warrington's favour for the first time. And coach and director of coaching and rugby exchange a little word and a smile, Jimmy Lowes and Tony Smith. Vinnie Anderson's try in the corner gives Warrington the lead.
It was all built up, was solid work by the forwards, and a beautiful pass out wide. It was sufficient. There's an old saying that the workhorses will do it down the middle, and then the skill factor of the three quarters will finish it off, and that's exactly how it is. Playing out wide, great stuff. But you've got to pinpoint the fact that Tony Smith, when he brought back on Adrian Morley and John Clark, they've just sort of steadied things down, some good running. And I think when they had that break, you know, from Richard Mathers, 10 or 12 minutes into after the restart, it just lifted the team, just got them into that mood where they say, you know, we can win this.
Big kick for Bridge. Big kick for Bridge. He's missed it. It's still to be won, but it's 18-16 now to Warrington, and they've missed with 3 kicks.
Could be
this match. Could be costly.
Yeah, it could be costly. Now then, it's decision time. Do they opt for the short kick-off, or do they go downfield, try to force the error?
Do you know, when they brought Morley on, when they brought Clark back on, I think they wanted to toughen up the defence. Does Winston Churchill have a saying for that? When the going gets tough, the tough
get going. Yeah, you're right. Spot on, Barrett.
Get going or keep going.
It doesn't matter. Just don't stop.
I think you'll find that the quote is, if you're going through hell, keep on going. Oh, there's a mistake.
Good shot.
Big hit on Louis Anderson. And Hull supporters and players celebrate like they'd just scored the winning try. King with the big hit.
Launching with that left arm was sufficient at a time when really they needed to put it up the jumper. It's not over yet.
It isn't. This is a huge opportunity for the black and whites. That was Thorman who fed the scrum. This is Thomas Lee.
Big hit from Morley.
It was a big hit. Hodgson. And Kirky Eamon has gone off the field, which is a blow for Hull. But here comes Thorman. He gets the ball out wide and finds Mike Burnett. Burnett is tackle number 3. Warrington defending their line. Can Hull prize them open now? This is King, who began all this with a big hit. That's 4 tackles gone. Danny Houghton. Houghton to Thorman. Thorman to Horn. They go wide. And that's Jody Broughton, who was so close on the last. Horn again. Tickle stabs the kick to the in-goal area. Monaghan gets it out of danger easily.
Well, where was the chase?
And waved him through then, Hull.
Where was the chase? They all stopped.
I'm not sure whether they felt like they were all in front of that kicker.
Either way, they should have put themselves in an area, and he knows it. There's Richard Agar.
A match that Hull have led for so long. In fact, until the 73rd minute from the 11th minute.
Well, whatever was said by Tony Smith, whether it was Churchillian or not, it certainly has worked, hasn't it, Eddie? They have fought their way back into it.
They have fought them on the beaches, Steve.
Yeah, they're on the park, never mind that. Can we drop this now?
Yes.
Good.
We've had a bit of fun with it. I'm sure people will be emailing us on Boots and All on Wednesday, but I don't think you're there to defend yourself this week, are you? No, I don't think you are. Another week off. Another week off for Steve-O. I can't believe it, honestly.
It's all right, I'm doing research.
Into the Churchillian speeches.
I thought we were dropping it.
We are.
I'm talking of dropping it, you know, Hull, they've got to get themselves sorted out. Can they get the penalty? They've got to make sure that they can get a good kick and chase.
Ewan Dowes.
They need possession badly.
Ewan Dowes goes down, tackle number 5. There's still 10, 12, 14 metres maybe inside their own half. Thorman's kick has to be good. It's not bad, but Riley is funneling back to get it, and Riley pouches it. Well, he returns the ball bravely, but doesn't get through the defence. He's dropped it. Chris Riley.
He can't believe it, but the 1,000 black and white fans here can. What a time to come up with an error.
Straight away from here this time. Oh, Richie Evans takes him in the scrum. Back.
He can't believe it either, Tony Smith. He's got so much talent, this fella, Chris Riley. But he can come up with an error at the most inconvenient time.
Oh, now there's a mistake.
Well, that was from Lee Breers, though, wasn't it?
It was a knock-on from Breers first, I say.
Tony Warrington ball.
This should be Hull V.
The touch judges told him it's Warrington's ball.
Oh, I think he's got that wrong.
Smith has just checked that.
I get the feeling that Bridge has touched that, and that has to be a knock-on.
It's Warrington ball.
He has asked him to check.
Warrington ball.
Well, even the double check, second opinion doesn't convince him.
Warrington ball.
Well, Danny Tickle can't believe it. I'm
Chris
sure
Riley will be
relieved.
thrilled. This is Vinnie Anderson, whose try might just have won the game for Warrington, but we've still got just shy of 3 minutes remaining. Here's Carvel.
Well, John Clark will control things from dummy half now, but the man that was there before for most of this second half, Mickey Hyam.
Oh, he's lost it. Louis Anderson's lost it now. That's gone backwards. He got away with it somehow, the whole man. It was Cusack. Cusack got away with that. He flicked it back, and Danny Houghton hangs on. Here's Thorman. That's Horn. Here's Tickle. Back to Horn. They've got a chance their arm now, the black and whites, if they can. 2 minutes to go. Thorman. King. Enveloped by Clark, Morley and Carvel. Richard Agar is prowling the touchline.
Well, he won't
Thomas
give up.
Lee.
Won't give up, Eddie.
Thorman.
Look about last night. Final seconds. Lead snatched it.
Hold.
Absolutely.
Go.
Thomas Lee again. Infield it goes to Richard Horn. Richard Horn cannot get through there. This is going to be tackle number 5.
And you can hear Richie Mathers bellow in the background. He doesn't want his teammates to lose their concentration.
It's a high kick from Thomas Lee. This. Who wants it? Lee Breers.
First. Move.
Surely there will be no histrionics. Hull might get one more.
It depends on
half a set.
It depends on how far the kick and chase Warrington can get. If they've any sense, and they've got plenty of brains out there, especially Lee Breers, it will go over the whitewash. They'll take their time at playing the ball.
Carvel just trundles the ball forward.
We're into the final minute, and this is where Breers, and you can see they all pick up injuries, but just quick enough not to irritate the man with the whistle.
Morley gets them almost to halfway.
This has got to have over the whitewash.
30 seconds remaining once this ball crosses the whitewash.
Excellent.
It does.
He's a
Now,
smart player, Lee Breers, isn't he? Just get that ball, puts it over the whitewash, scrum down, just keep knocking them seconds off.
Hull form the scrum. They've got 21 seconds remaining because the referee's called time off. It's what's it going to be, Barry? Kick and chase or one drive and then kick and chase?
I would say they're going to kick it right from the scrum here. Mark Calderwood, you just watch Mark Calderwood just to the left of your screen, number 2.
Well, why wouldn't they? Because there isn't a Warrington fullback at home here. They're going the other way, away from Mark Calderwood. They've gone to Broughton's wing instead, and Breers brings him to ground. Maybe one more go for Hull.
He's still in the vicinity, Calderwood.
They can't get the kick away. Well, they can find the men out here. That's Burnett. Now the kick. There's the siren. Mathers will pouch this. He just needs to punt it out of the field, and that's exactly what he does. Warrington have come back and won. Hull led for such a long time, and the improvement of this Warrington side under Tony Smith continues. Not the prettiest of games, not the prettiest of results, but 2 points for Warrington that will take them to 10th in the table tonight, which is their best position of 2009 so far.
It's definitely a period of transition for Warrington. They're having to adjust to a new coach, a new philosophy, trying to show composure. And in the first half, they didn't have any composure. They were trying to score on every set of 6. Come the second half, they go into the changing rooms, they sit down, assess for themselves where they're going right, where they're going wrong, come out in the second half and fix it up. You can't say fairer than that.
You can't. A match lasts 80 minutes. Warrington have led for only 7 of those 80 minutes, but they go home tonight with the points. Well, Bill has got the man of the match with him, and it's Mickey Hyam of Warrington.
Talk about digging yourselves out of a hole. You had to do that, didn't you?
Yeah, we made our work of the first half. For credit to all the out-enthused us, and no matter how good of a team you are and what, if you get out-enthused, you're not going to win a game. And for 40 minutes, we were second best. We knew what you had to do at half-time. He said little words, but they were effective, and we come out and we knew what you had to do, and it just shows that we are improving. We ground out a win today, and maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago we'd have gone on to lose this game, and so some good signs, but there's still a lot of signs that we can get better, so just got to keep going.
It's a pretty hard-nosed second half, wasn't it? And probably a bit un-Warrington-like in some respects.
Yeah, you know, Warrington are renowned for throwing the ball out, but we got back to basics and what this team's got at, grinding stuff out, and we used the forwards to our advantage today. We pounded up the middle, and our kicking game got very good at the second half, and it come out, and it's a pleasing win to turn it around like that. But we said we've got to come in Monday, and it's another big game next week.
Well done today, Mickey. You get the champagne. You also get £100 for a charity of your choice. Where's that going to go?
Yeah, if it's the right one, it's some steps. It's children with club feet, so I'll give it to them.
OK, we'll check that one out. Thanks a lot. Well done tonight. Let's bring the skipper in, Adrian Morley. I think Mickey touched on it there. I mean, you had to do what Warrington maybe haven't been good at, and that was dig deep and really buckle down for this.
That's right. With the first half performance, we give ourselves a big task in the second half, but thought we applied ourselves very well, and we've shown great determination to come back and get the win.
What made the difference then?
I think it was a bit of well, Tony gave us a piece of his mind at half-time, and he certainly put us in our places, and I think he was pretty embarrassed by the first half, and that's not what we're about. We've shown plenty more desperation, and you know, we're delighted with the win.
Yeah, and you really did dig deep, ground it out.
We did. We was desperate for the win today, but you wouldn't have thought that in the first half. We was very poor in a lot of areas, and we've shown some great signs there, and you know, this team's got plenty of character about it.
Thanks a lot. Well done, Adrian.
Cheers, Bill. Thank you.
Well, it's 5 straight defeats now for Hull here in both the Super League and the Challenge Cup. It's 4 wins from 5 for Warrington. 18 points to 16. The match last 80 minutes. They led for just the final 7.